Chapter 1 of this book was set at home, and there were 4 departures to the town and away, and 2 arrivals from the men in the gray suits from the bank. Chapter 2 had just a walking in a straight line through a restaurant and down a road, and we saw that 13 things happened. Most of them, how this young boy Ingram deals with pain. He laughs, he cries, he remembers, he imagines. And now here we are waking up in the morning of chapter 3 as he's walked down that road of chapter 2. First thing he feels is hot hands around his neck, wringing his neck in a choking fashion, and he just describes these hands as coming from a mountain. So there is a man so large that his face is unseeable, and he's choking young Ingram, and Ingram believes that this is his last moment on earth, and he's going to be choked to death, but he finally does relent. Then he watches this mountain of a man outside eating, it seems like, directly from a skillet, and the man is eating food. This makes Ingram remember how hungry he is, and it's even harder to be hungry when you see someone else eating food, and so the man then shares his food. So the man first spares his life, takes his hands off of his neck, and second, the man makes food, eats food, but then shares his food, and this meal is almost sacramental. Do I mean that the author meant this as a particularly Christian allegory? No, but it almost seems sacramental in the sense that the food is literal. Everything to come in this chapter is literal, but it speaks of something even greater. It points to a spiritual, an emotional, a loving reality that is even greater than the meal itself. So he spares his life, he shares his food, and then he gives him this all-important drink, and along with the drink, the advice that your body can go without eating, but it can't go without this water. You need water to live, and you need it on the daily. So spares his life, gives him his food, gives him a drink, and he shows him his face. So the only shining face that young Ingram has ever seen is his mother, and that was a wholly beautiful face. And even this man, with the different contours and colors of the man's face, is a beautiful face, causing Ingram to wonder to himself, is there a beauty in every human face? Or is it just that these are 2 beautiful faces? So is the shining light, the countenance of someone shining upon you, is that beauty in itself? Or did I just happen to hit the lottery and the 2 faces that have ever shown themselves to me fully are beautiful? And remember, his memory of his dad is of his backside and his long strides walking away. So he didn't have the face of the father, but now this man is acting like a father figure, giving him water, giving him food, sparing his life, and also giving him advice. Then the man does something even more intimate that has never happened to anyone except the girl child, his possible cousin. He is carried from outside the tent, inside the tent. And so being carried, he nuzzles into the chest of this mountain of a man, and he feels the warmth and tenderness of beauty of, for maybe the first time in his life, someone caring for him in that particular way. He has no memory of anyone caring for him in that particular way. But as we'll see, the mountain man has something to say about our memory of care. Then he does something that no one has ever done. He's taken the time to give advice. And he tells this innocent young boy, listen, it is a hard world out there. You can't stay here because I can't afford it. I don't have a wife and kids because I can't afford it. So I certainly can't adopt a strange white boy like you. And so just remember, it's a hard world out there. And that people are snakes. And Ingram says, well, I've seen snakes before. And he says, you don't understand. There's people who are snakes, and people who are snakes are worse than snakes that are snakes. And so your innocence is going to come up against people who want something from you. And here's what they're going to do. They're going to smile. So always beware of the person that smiles, because they're probably trying to hide their motives. And so this is a good word from the mountain man. He has not only practical helps, food and water. He not only warmly holds him, he not only shows his face, but he has something, and that is the word of truth, the word of advice. advice. So a meal is going to sustain you for the next few hours. That's really nice. A warm hug is going to sustain you for maybe a little bit of while. Maybe having a shining countenance will sustain you. But what's really going to sustain you is truth, is a word about the world. And what is the world? It is a hard world for an innocent boy, and there are snakes out there, and these snakes are usually smiling. So don't trust anybody who is smiling at you. And finally, he says his last word of advice, which is don't be bitter towards your mom. I can see how you would be bitter towards your mom, but here's what you don't remember. Years and years of care that it had to have been, or else you wouldn't have been alive. So love mothers, love life, and go make the best of it. But beware that it is a hard world. So don't be bitter towards your mom, but beware towards strangers who might be snakes dressed as sheep. They might be wolves dressed as sheep, and they're going to have a grin on their face when they're about to consume you.